Hello, everybody, and welcome to O2 Classroom. I'm Lisa, and I'm the educational content developer here at First Class Medical, and also the producer of O2 Classroom. We're here every Monday to talk about topics that will hopefully better help you manage your lung condition and just make your day-to-day life a little bit easier. Today, we're going to talk about something that I've seen a lot about in our support group. And it's because this time of year, as the weather gets lower, as the weather gets cooler, as the weather gets drier, you're likely to see sort of an uptick in mucus production. We're going to talk a little bit about why that happens, what you can do about it, and also, so mucus, when it gets into your lungs and into your throat, things like that, it's irritating because it causes you to cough and things like that. Mucus is sort of your body's natural way of trapping things. So if something gets into your nose and it's an allergen, whatever your body sees as an invader, if it's bacteria, if it's virus, if it's an allergen of some sort, if it's dust, your body's likely to create some mucus to sort of trap that in so it doesn't spread all over and it inhibits its growth. So things like that. Smoking, anything like that. And that's why smokers often have a lot of mucus, because as you're inhaling smoke, your body sees that as an inhaler. It's also causing inflammation and things that create mucus. And, we think of mucus a lot in our throats and our noses and our lungs, things like that. But mucus is actually all over, wherever you have epithelial cells, pretty much you'll find mucus in your stomach, in your intestines. In your stomach, mucus kind of protects your stomach lining from being burnt by stomach acid. In your intestine, it actually kind of promotes that bacteria growth because it's for the good bacteria that helps digest food and absorb nutrients and things like that. So cold weather, as your nasal passages and those bronchioles that we talk about get more irritated, you're going to have more mucus this time of year. And so that's why, sometimes you go outside and it's cold and your nose gets runny. It's because the cold air is irritating the inside of your nasal passages and it's causing it to create some mucus. Mucus is something that you need to actually pay attention to. If you hopefully are doing your COPD zones every day, one of the things that is in the monitoring part of the zone sheet is that you need to monitor your mucus production. Have there been any changes in mucus production? Are you producing more than you normally would? Is it thicker? Is it a strange color that you're not used to seeing? Things like that. So if it is, it could be because, you're having some allergy challenges or something like that. It could also mean that you may be getting sick. You may be having, you may be getting upper respiratory infection, a little cold, something like that. Either way, if something has changed, if you've noticed the texture getting a lot thicker or there's been a lot more, something you maybe want to closely monitor and maybe even speak to your doctor about. You don't necessarily have to go in for an appointment, but at least call and let them know, and they'll sort of advise you what to do. So changes in color, texture, things like that. Another thing that you also want to monitor is your lung sounds. If you have any kind of lung condition, you're probably used to hearing some sort of strange sounds, but there's some sounds that are cause for concern, basically. If you have asthma or if you have COPD or any kind of obstructive lung condition, one thing that you're probably used to hearing is wheezing. And what we mean by wheezing is sort of a high-pitched sound, and it's due to blockage in your airways. And so just like when you purse your lips and whistle a little bit, you're forcing air through a small opening and it's causing a whistling sound. That's basically what wheezing is. And as air is getting forced through smaller and smaller passageways that are blocked by mucus, you might hear a little bit of whistling. You might also hear when you breathe, and I know that sometimes when I get sick, I hear this, it's like a crackling sound. And that's caused by air bubbles that are passing through fluid. So if you have a lot of mucus in there and air is going through, you hear a little crackling sound as that air passes through and makes those bubbles. Another sound that you might want to listen for is what is known as a stridor. And that's basically, it sounds like wheezing, but it's just much, much louder. And it's caused by narrowing above your voice box or larynx, meaning that you either have a lot of inflammation there or you maybe have some mucus forming there. Another thing that you might want to listen for is what is known as rhonchi. That is sort of a lower pitch sound when you breathe. It's like when you breathe. I found actually a good article on I think it was like Medical News Today, which I'm going to post the link here when we're done. And it actually has some recordings of these sounds, so you can kind of hear what they sound like, so that if you hear them, you'll know that it's caused to maybe call your doctor or things like that. I'm going to post here in the comments when we get done. If you have a question as I go along, go ahead and post it here in the comments. I will answer it live if I can. If I don't know the answer, I will speak to one of our respiratory therapists that we are in touch with, or I will find out the answer for you. If you're not watching this live, same thing. Put it here. And, I try to go through the comments throughout the week and answer questions as I can. And I know some of our respiratory therapists, Carla from the Thrive program, goes through here sometimes, and she'll answer questions. Hi, Steve. Thank you for watching. Okay, so rhonchi is like a low-pitched sound as you're breathing out, and it's caused by an increase in fluids in your larger airways. So you might get a lower-pitched sound as you're having more inflammation down in your lungs versus in your throat or in your nose. It can mean fluids are being secreted into the airways, mucus, or things like that. Something that could be a little more serious is what's known as the Hammond's sign. It's sort of a crackling and crunching that happens, but it happens instead of happening when you're breathing or as you're exhaling, it happens rhythmically in time with your heartbeat. And that happens when air gets trapped in between your lungs, in between your lungs, the space between your lungs, which is called the mediastinum. So when air doesn't usually go into that area, and when it leaks into that, it's because you have, lung damage, as you do when you have COPD, or sometimes, you have a damage to your windpipe. But if that's happening, it's indicating that there's some serious damage there, because air doesn't usually leak into that area, into the mediastinum. So it's something that you definitely need to speak to your respiratory therapist or your doctor about. Another sound that you might hear when you're coughing is what's known as a whooping sound. So you'll cough, and then you have like a real high pitched sound at the end, and it's like you're gasping for air at the end. That's the high pitch. The high pitched sound is from air like rushing into your airways. When you're sort of really short of air and you're cough it all out, you get that sound rushing in there. That's usually caused by pertussis, also known as whooping cough, which is a bacterial infection. People with COPD are at a greater risk for pertussis or whooping cough, and that is why your doctor's likely spoken to you about getting a whooping cough vaccine. That vaccine is not yearly, if I'm correct. I think that is actually a 10-year vaccine. You don't have to get it very often, but you probably have to get a 10-year vaccine. So talk to your doctor about it if you haven't gotten one yet. Another sound that you might hear is a pleural friction rub. So your lungs, covered by those thin membranes, are called the membranes are called pleurae. So as you have friction rubbing there, you might hear like a popping sound. It means that something's interrupting that membrane. And in a COPD patients, a lot of times, or IPF, it happens because you're having excessive cause for inflammation, because you have a lung infection, you have an upper respiratory infection, or something else is happening. So if you hear a popping sound as you're breathing, it's definitely a sign that you need to speak to your doctor. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for watching also. Okay, so mucus. How do you keep that? We know that it's a natural production, that your body uses to keep you healthy, to help with different processes, to help your immune system trap invaders as it sees it. So what do you have to do to help control that mucus? The first thing you want to do is active cycle breathing. Active cycle breathing is those breathing exercises when done in a cycle help to expel that mucus. If you haven't learned how to do active cycle breathing, we've talked about it on the show a bunch of times. I'll put the link here for the Thrive classes again. Those are free classes. The intro classes are free, and they are all about the zone sheet. They're all about the food diary. They're all about the active cycle breathing technique. And the reason Thrive made those free is because they feel like those are the three most essential things that you need to learn about if you are living with a lung condition and want to properly manage it, slow disease progression, and just make your day-to-day a little bit easier. Is what this show is all about. So active cycle breathing is something that will help you if you do it first thing in the morning. As you probably know, I don't have to tell you, when you first wake up, your chest and your throat is probably congested. You're probably coughing a lot, and you're probably coughing up a lot of things, because when you lay down, a lot of things settle in your chest. So doing that first thing in the morning is, first of all, going to help relax those airways a little bit. It's going to help you build up some air. And then if you do some huff coughing, it's going to help expel that mucus out so you can start your day a little bit easier, clear those out, start getting your breathing going, and things like that. So another thing is coughing. I know coughing can be irritating. It can rob you of sleep. It's irritating in public, and especially in the times of the pandemic, people are giving you a strange look. But you have to make a distinction between productive coughing and non-productive coughing. If you've got a dry hack, that is like a non-productive cough. It's just irritating. You've got some irritation there, and it's signs that your body is experiencing some inflammation. And when it experiences inflammation, its natural response to that is to cough, because it's trying to get rid of that. So by doing active cycle breathing, you should, decrease your coughing a little bit, because you're expelling some of that mucus. You're relaxing some of that inflammation. So it should help you, cough a little bit less. We're going to talk a little bit later about how to help your cough and your mucus too, with some foods and some drinks and things like that. But productive coughing is if you're coughing, you're actually coughing up stuff. That's actually good coughing, because you're getting rid of that mucus, and in that mucus is the stuff that's trapped, the allergens, the bacteria, the virus, whatever was in there, the mucus trapped. You're getting rid of it, expelling it out of your body, which is what it's made for, by blowing your nose, by coughing it up. That's what your body creates a mucus for. Okay, so you might also talk to your doctor about some sort of decongestants. Mucinex, I know, is popular with a lot of people here. So you might want to talk to your doctor about getting some decongestants, either over the counter or prescription, to see if that will help. And expectorants. So decongestants stop the production of mucus, or decrease it, I should say. Decrease the production of mucus. Expectorants actually help you to expel the mucus by either making it a little wetter, making it a little less sticky, or sometimes they make you cough, and it actually, it thins the mucus and helps you cough it out. So it increases the water content in the mucus, making it less sticky and can't hold on as well, and so you can cough it out. Laura's watching too. She's just saying thanks for the information. Thank you for watching, Laura. We appreciate all of you watching, all the input that you give, and a lot of the topics that we get for this show are from all of you who are making comments and people in our private Facebook group. If you haven't gotten to the private Facebook group yet, there are more than 5,000 people such as yourself that are living every day with some sort of lung condition. There's people in there that will share a lot of information. You can ask questions. You can share something that you've learned. But most of all, I think people in there are just lending each other some emotional support. Sometimes, because this disease isn't very visible from the outside, sometimes you don't look sick, and it's sort of day to day also what you did yesterday. Sometimes you're too tired to do today. And that can be hard for people who aren't experiencing it to understand. So there's no better person to lend you some support or give you some advice than somebody who's actually dealing with the same thing. So that's why we started that group. And there's a lot of characters in there. They make each other laugh. And, we like to see all the support that you guys lend. So I'll put the link for that in here as well. But anyway, okay. Moving back to keeping your mucus under control. Another thing that I preach about every week: stay hydrated, drink. Not only does that help, dehydration is one of a very common cause of exacerbation, and that is because your lungs are largely made up of water. So if you're dehydrated and your body needs water to do something like eliminate waste or digest food or keep you cool if it's hot outside or you've been exerting yourself, it's got to take it from somewhere if you're dehydrated. So it could take it from the lungs, which means that your lungs aren't working as effectively as they normally would. So be sure to stay hydrated. And it also, the more water you have, the more water content that you're adding to that mucus, the easier it is going to be to expel. In addition to water, you can drink things like soup, warm liquids, tea, things like that. Clear broth is going to help. The warm liquid going down is going to help soothe the inflammation in those bronchial passages in your throat and things like that, so that it's just not going to be so irritated. And the less inflammation that you have, the less mucus you're going to produce. So, those warm liquids are good. Add honey and lemon. Honey and lemon are antibacterial as well as anti-inflammatory. So that's going to help the cause as well. Some other teas that we looked at, we've talked about this before. We did a whole show about teas. If you want to look at any of our other shows, prior shows that we've done, go to First Class Medical's Facebook page. Up at the top, you'll see a drop down that says more. Click on more. You'll see videos. You'll see more than 100 videos that we've done, either myself or Corey, who's one of the owners here, about any number of topics. So we did a show about tea, but one tea that is especially helpful is licorice root tea. Licorice has been found to be antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and is also antioxidant. So it's going to help boost that immune system as we're going into cold and flu season. Anything that you can do, I think we're going to talk about that next week, to boost your immunity is going to be a help. The quickest way to speed disease progression, end up in the hospital, and cause further lung damage is to get a nasty upper respiratory infection. So anything that you can do to boost that immunity is going to be good for you. And study in mice found that licorice compounds act as expectorants also to loosen mucus. So that's why we put that on that list. There's a lot of benefits for respiratory patients. Ginger tea, or adding ginger to soup or things that you're cooking, stew or anything like that. It's helpful for asthma, for nausea, for arthritis. It's anti-inflammatory, and also has antioxidant compounds. It has components that also relax airway muscles, so that it can also, relax those airway muscles so that you can breathe easier and expel mucus easier. So ginger is good for that too. Be aware, though, that if you are on blood thinning medications, ginger is one of those things that could interact with those medications. So be sure to talk to your doctor first. We did a whole show on medication interactions, and we have blog posts about that. And in the blog post, we list a few different apps that you might get for your phone. The topic of that show is basically that sometimes when you go to one doctor and they prescribe something and then you go to a different doctor, they don't always know that you're on a different medication. So, it's, even if you think they might know, just say, okay, you're going to prescribe this for me. I'm also on this. Is that going to be okay? Speak to your pharmacist. A lot of time when you go to the pharmacist, you're basically talking to the cashier. They give you a bag and you're on your way. But ask to speak to the pharmacist and ask them, say, I'm on these other medications. The doctor just prescribed this for me. Is this going to be okay? Is this going to cause an interaction? And the good thing about the apps is that as you upload all your medications on there, it actually will send you an alert. It keeps track of the medications that you're on, and it's going to keep track of those alerts. And so it can tell you if things are going to interact. And also the good thing is even sometimes if you're getting an over-the-counter medication, or you want to take a supplement, if you have heard that certain vitamins or certain supplements have helped with lung conditions and you want to try them, you just want to make sure that they're not going to interact with any of the medication that you're on. And by interact, I mean decrease the effectiveness, or can also have some sort of dangerous interaction where there's going to be some sort of toxic reaction from that. So you want to make sure that you are checking anything that you get, any kind of over the counter things. Michelle's saying she needs the app. I'm going to post the link to the blog post in here. You can read through the posts, and the app links are in those posts. Easy to find. So anyway, another tea that you might consider is marshmallow root. Marshmallow root has an enzyme that helps loosen your mucus, and also inhibits bacteria. Mullein tea, we talked about that a lot. There's been a lot of talk about that on COPD sites lately. Mullein is an expectorant, so it's going to help to expel that mucus, but it's also a demulcent. Demulcents are herbs that are soothing. They have anti-inflammatory things. They also, in this case, will coat over your mucous membranes and sort of soothe them, cool them, and as we said, the less inflammation you have, the less mucus you're going to produce. So demulcents are healing, relaxing, any kind of herbs you can find with that. There can also be devices that you can use to help expel mucus. There are vests you can get, and the vests, and these again are, something you should use under your doctor's supervision, but so it's sort of a vibrating vest. You put the vest on and it oscillates here on your chest. So it sort of loosens up, with the high frequency vibration, it sort of loosens up that mucus, and it pulses And those frequent oscillations help to loosen the mucus and propel it upwards as well, where it's going to be much easier for you to cough out. It's hard to cough out mucus that's way down here in your chest. So those oscillations sort of loosen the mucus and help moving it up, and so it's easier to cough out. There are devices called OPEP devices. OPEP stands for oscillation, positive expiration pressure. That creates resistance vibrations to help break down and clear mucus, and you can use it while you're doing the huff coughing. Huff coughing is sort of the last stage of active cycle breathing. We've talked a lot about that a lot. Another thing you might want to consider is if you live in a dry climate, if you live in Florida or somewhere like that, this isn't going to apply to you as much. But if you live somewhere like where I live in Colorado, where it's dry, I wake up with, very stuffy nose in the morning because it's so dry. You might want to consider using a humidifier at night. The American Lung Association has said that about 40% humidity is ideal for people with lung conditions. So if you're living in a state where Colorado, we've got, very low humidity, and you can boost it up to 40% at night, it's going to sort of help you breathe a little bit easier. And it might also decrease mucus production because your airways aren't going to be as irritated. There'll be less inflammation, things like that. Some other techniques that you can learn to expel mucus are called postural drainage, which means you're getting in sort of different postures. Like if you've done yoga, they talk about postures all the time, but you get into different postures that are going to help you to drain the mucus. There's a lot of videos about this online. You can, I believe the American Lung Association has videos about this that you can learn. I'm going to go over some of the postures here as well. And I do want to make a video about this. We had sort of a lot of people guests lined up to shoot videos, and then COVID happened, and then we just never were able to do it. But eventually, hopefully this show is going to be not just me talking to you all the time. It's going to be other experts that we can go to their offices and things like that once, the pandemic is, died down a little bit, and, we can go and speak to those people, and we can get examples of this. But for right now, I'm just going to describe them to you. There are videos on YouTube and things like that where you can learn how to do it. So each one of these postures, you're going to hold for 5 minutes. And they recommend that you do this 30 minutes after inhaler use. So once your lungs are open. So the process would be this. So do active cycle breathing, get those airways nice and open, clear out as much mucus as you can. 20 minutes later, use your inhaler, whatever daily inhaler that your doctor has prescribed to you, be sure to use those. 30 minutes after that, do some of these postural drainage poses, and that'll help you expel some of that mucus. So you can do this on the floor. If it's hard for you to get down on the floor, you can lie down on your bed. You just got to lay somewhere flat. So each posture is going to drain a different part of your lungs. So you're going to start with draining the front of your lungs. So you're going to lay down on your back, and you're going to make sure that your chest is lower than your hips, meaning you're going to put 2 pillows under your hips, under your behind, and raise up your hips so that your chest is lower. And you're going to lay down flat, keeping your arms at your sides. Okay, so you lay there for a minute, and then put your hand on your belly and on your chest. And this is how you know that you're doing your belly breathing properly. We've talked about belly breathing on here all the time, so you can skip this part if you already know how to do it. But basically, you're putting your hands here because you're trying to make sure that you're breathing with your diaphragm, meaning deep into your belly, versus just breathing here into your chest, where it's not going to do you any good. So when you breathe in, if you're doing it right, your belly should expand. When you exhale, if you're doing it right, your belly should contract. So make sure that you're, breathing deep into your stomach and not into your chest. So hold that pose for 5 minutes while you're doing your belly breathing. To drain the side of your lungs, you're going to do this on each side. So those 2 pillows that were under your behind are now under your side. So your hips are now lower. Your chest is now lower than your hips. So you do this for 5 to 10 minutes on each side. Again, doing your belly breathing, laying on each side. And then when you're done with that, do each side, you're going to drain the back of your lungs. So which means you're going to lay on your stomach, You're going to put a couple pillows under your hips. So your chest is lower. You're going to lay forward like that, your arms by your head, and you're breathing, belly breathing for 5 to 10 minutes. If while you're doing any of these exercises, you feel like you have to cough, you're going to cough something up, sit up. Just make sure you don't choke. And that may happen as your mucus starts to move up and you may feel like you have to cough. Just make sure that you sit up a little bit so that you're not laying down. You're not, going to swallow it again and choke. So another thing that you can do is what is known as chest percussion. If you get somebody to do this on your back, if you have a partner or somebody that will help you out with this, it's nice. So you want to cup your hand slightly, cup it a little bit, and tap lightly around your chest. Don't hit over your breastbone. So just tap lightly on your chest. You'll feel a little bit of, vibration happening, some things loosening up there. And if people can, tap on your back, tap on your shoulder blades, things like that, and along your back, don't hit on the spine. But, if you can do a few minutes of percussion, that should loosen up some of that mucus as well. So it's the same thing that the vest is doing. Basically, you're just doing it with your hand. If you can get somebody to help you, tap lightly. They should be doing it firmly, but shouldn't hurt. It should feel firm, but not painful. Okay, so those are some postural things to do to expel the mucus. Another thing that you can do is gargle with salt water. Gargling with salt water should be something that you do this time of year anyway, because it's not a cure for anything. It doesn't, kill coronavirus or anything. But salt in your throat, in your mucous membranes hanging out of the back of your throat, does kill some germs, but it also just makes it less hospitable back there for things to take hold. So while salt doesn't kill a coronavirus or any kind of virus, a flu virus or anything like that, if it's sitting back there and you inhale, some virus microbes, it's going to be much harder for those microbes to sort of take hold and spread and do the things they need to do to make you sick. If you've been gargling with salt. So, this time of year, I usually gargle with salt. Sometimes I do it after lunch and then I do it again at night, but it helps me keep from getting sick. Ginger, again, we talked about ginger tea. Ginger is a natural decongestant. It's an antihistamine. It also has antiviral and antibacterial properties. Cayenne pepper, capsaicin helps with thinning mucus. So if you can put some cayenne in your soup or something like that, it can help clear that mucus out. Garlic is also a natural expectorant and antimicrobial. I like cooking with garlic. It's good taste and keeps you nice and healthy. So consider, there are garlic capsules, things like that. If you want to take supplements and you've spoken to your doctor about it and they've suggested that, that's fine. But your body is much more able and will more readily take in those positive nutrients from food versus a pill. Just the way our bodies are designed. Not that those things aren't effective, and if some things you can't eat doesn't agree with you and you need to take a supplement instead, that's okay. But at this show we mostly talk about food because that is just the most beneficial way for your body to get these nutrients. Pineapple juice is something that we've talked about a lot on the show. A lot of people have asked about it. A lot of people swear by it. They swear that it helps their coughing, and it's not, pineapple juice isn't a cough suppressant. Pineapple has a enzyme in it called bromelain, and bromelain is actually an anti-inflammatory. And it also has mucolytic properties that it can help, which means that it helps expel and break up mucus. So pineapple juice, instead of orange juice during the day, or there's pineapple orange juice as well. Lots of vitamin C can be good for you. Interesting. I have sometimes I get eye floaters in my left eye, and sometimes a couple times they've been fairly large. The doctor says that, eye doctor has said they're not too much to worry about. It just happens. But I actually watched a video about eye floaters a few weeks ago, and they suggested pineapple juice to help decrease eye floaters for the same reason that it helps you with your coughing, those anti-inflammatory properties that bromelain has. Another thing that can help you is onions. Sulfur compounds that are found in onions help fight mucus, and they also promote the expulsion of mucus. Onions are also a natural antibiotic, so good things to eat this time of year when you're trying to avoid getting those colds and things. There are some foods that can help increase mucus production and thickening, things you want to avoid. Red meat is high in protein. Mucus is actually made of protein. So anything that's very, very high in protein, or it's not a lean protein, can promote more mucus production. Refined sugars. Refined sugars increase inflammation. Inflammation increases mucus. Dairy. Some people have a sensitivity to dairy. There used to be, there used to be a widely held belief that milk creates mucus, which isn't the case. And sometimes people have a reaction to milk that does increase mucus, but it's not the milk, it's the reaction in the body that causes it. So if you have some sort of lactose reaction to cheese and milk that increases mucus production or thickens mucus, you can avoid dairy, but that's not everybody. But there are a lot of people that have that sensitivity, so you might just want to watch out for that. Tomatoes can make allergies worse, and they increase histamine production. So and histamine production means more mucus. So anything that's high acidity can aggravate also reflux, which is irritating to lung tissue, which can create some mucus production. So anything that is such as tomatoes that are high in acid, that are going to, if you have GERD or, give you heartburn, you may want to avoid. Soda is acidic, so that's something you might want to avoid. If you drink cola, your body responds by lining your throat with a coat of mucus. It's that dark soda that creates that reaction. So it's definitely something you want to avoid. Okay, so that hopefully will help as the weather gets colder, and mucus can get thicker and can also be promoted more in your body. We hope all of that helps. If you have questions, let me know. Christine's on here saying that she has an emphysema, but she doesn't have mucus, but she does cough a lot. Steve's saying thanks for the pineapple juice and the eye floaters. Steve, I just started last week. I haven't had any eye floaters lately, but I don't know that it's from the pineapple juice. Sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't, but I'm going to keep drinking because it's irritating. Especially when you're looking at the computer screen, you see a lot of floaters or whatever. So I hope the pineapple juice helps you both with your coughing, eye floaters, any kind of inflammation you might have. Something with bromelain should help you. So I appreciate all you guys watching. I appreciate all your comments. If you're not watching this live, go ahead and put them in here and I'll answer them as I can. I'm going to put the links for Thrive. I'm going to put the links for the private Facebook group if you're not in there yet. I'm going to put the links for the lung sounds and the blogs for the medication reactions. So if I've forgotten anything, or if you have any other questions, let me know. Click on the blog link here. If you're reading the blog for the first time, you can subscribe to the blog and you just get an email every single time we put a post up, so that you're not missing any. And there's a lot of good information on there about managing your lung health. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Take care and be well.